We tested chicken from 12 major grocery stores across America, including Walmart, Costco, Target, and 9 others. The results were surprising, and the problem begins with the chicken you probably cooked last night. Everything looked normal. The package was fresh. The price seemed fair. You followed the recipe exactly. But the moment that chicken touched the hot pan, something strange happened. Instead of sizzling, liquid poured out. The meat did not brown. It started boiling in its own water. Then it shrank. A big, plump piece of chicken turned small and disappointing right in front of you. You probably thought you did something wrong. You did not. The chicken did exactly what it was built to do. And here is the part that may bother you most. The store that performed the worst was not the cheap store most people would expect. It was one of the most trusted names in American shopping, a store millions of families probably visited this week. When we compared everything side by side, it came in dead last. Before we begin, Golden Menu wants to know where you usually buy your chicken. Type the store name in the comments right now, without overthinking it. By the end of this video, you will know exactly where it landed. Because 2 packages can look almost identical. Same color, same size, same price range. But one can be mostly real meat, while the other can contain far more retained water than you realize. And the front of the package will never tell you the full story. Here is the rule for this entire video. The front is marketing. The back is the truth. We judged all 12 stores the same way. No bias, no guessing, no assumptions. Just the package, the label, and what the chicken actually tells you. We are counting down the 9 that failed, with the worst one saved for the end. Let us begin. Number 9. Tyson. Tyson is one of the biggest names in chicken. When shoppers see that familiar logo, they often feel safe. The company is huge, the brand is everywhere, and the product feels reliable before you even read the package. And to be fair, many Tyson chicken products are perfectly fine. But Tyson teaches one of the most important lessons in the entire meat aisle. The most important word on the package is not the brand name, it is the product name. Look closely, and you may find wording such as, chicken breast contains up to 15% solution of water, salt, and natural flavoring. That small sentence changes everything. It means the chicken was injected or soaked with a saltwater solution before it was packaged. This is not a mistake. This is not a typo. This is part of the product. So while you may think you picked up plain chicken breast, what you actually bought was chicken with added water, added salt, and a built-in marinade you did not ask for. And the worst part is simple. You are paying meat prices for something that is partly salty liquid. The fix is fast. Do not trust the big logo first. Read the smaller product name underneath it. If it simply says chicken breast, that is the cleaner choice. If it says chicken breast with solution, now you understand the game. Tyson lands here because many breaded and frozen products can include fillers. Several sub-brands make labels more confusing than they need to be, and enhanced cuts can raise the sodium level in every serving. The next store flips the whole story. Most shoppers walk in expecting cheap prices to mean cheap chicken. But this is one of the biggest surprises in the entire ranking. Number 8. Aldi. Now the story takes an unexpected turn. Most people walk into Aldi expecting exactly what the low prices suggest. Cheap store. Cheap chicken. That assumption sounds reasonable. But it is more value than most shoppers expect. The Never Any line is raised without antibiotics, contains no animal byproducts in the feed, and comes with a clean, straightforward label. Considering the price, it is one of the strongest values in any grocery store. The impressive part is that Aldi does not rely on flashy marketing or premium packaging to convince shoppers. It simply offers a solid product at a fair price without charging extra for the image of quality. While we are here, let us clear up one of the biggest myths in the meat aisle. You have probably seen packages proudly displaying the words, "No added hormones." It sounds like a major selling point. It is not. Federal law has prohibited the use of added hormones in chicken for decades. Every chicken legally sold in the United States already meets that standard. In other words, That label is not highlighting something unique. It is simply advertising a rule that every producer must already follow. This is exactly why reading the label matters. Aldi appears in this part of the ranking for one simple reason. The lowest priced packages do not come from the Never Any line. If you automatically grab the cheapest option, you completely miss the better product, sitting only one shelf away. Spend just a little more, choose the Never Any line, and you may walk away with better chicken than shoppers who spend nearly twice as much somewhere else. Why skip it? The least expensive packages do not include the Never Any standards. Selection can vary significantly from one location to another, and Aldi provides very little information about where the chicken actually comes from. The next grocery chain creates an entirely different problem. It sells two completely different levels of chicken quality from the very same refrigerated section. Most shoppers choose the wrong one without ever realizing the better option was only a few feet away. Number 7. Kroger. Kroger feels like one of the safest grocery stores in America. It is one of the largest supermarket chains in the country, so many shoppers assume almost every package on the shelf is a safe choice. The reality is much more interesting. Kroger is almost like two different grocery stores sharing the same meat department. The first is the standard chicken line. These are the packages stacked right at the front, usually marked with sale prices, and placed exactly where busy shoppers reach first. They are convenient, affordable, and completely average, the kind of chicken you cook once and never think about again. Then there is the second option, Simple Truth. Raised without antibiotics, supported by a cleaner ingredient list, and backed by a much clearer production story, it represents a noticeable improvement in quality. In many stores, it sits on the very same shelf as the standard products. This is why Kroger lands in the lower half of our ranking. Not because the best chicken sold at Kroger is disappointing, because most shoppers never buy the best chicken sold at Kroger. They assume every package carrying the Kroger name offers the same quality, so they grab whatever is closest and move on. That is exactly where the mistake happens, and it leads to one of the most valuable lessons in this entire video. Stop asking yourself, is this a good grocery store? Start asking, is this a good package? Inside the same refrigerated section, only a few feet apart, you can find two products with completely different levels of quality. The store stays the same. The answer does not. Why skip it? Most shoppers instinctively choose the standard house brand instead of the Simple Truth line. The regular Kroger products reveal very little about where the chicken actually comes from, and aggressive sale pricing often pushes shoppers toward the standard water-chilled cuts instead of the buying in bulk can sometimes multiply a very small mistake into a surprisingly expensive one. Number 6. Members Mark. Most people shop at Sam's Club for one simple reason: buy more, pay less. At first glance, Members Mark seems to deliver exactly that. The packages are large, the price per pound looks attractive, and filling your freezer feels like a smart financial decision. But bulk shopping hides a problem that many shoppers never think about. Every small detail you ignore on one package gets multiplied across everything you buy. If a single tray contains a little extra retained water, you probably will not notice. But when you buy an entire case for your freezer, that same percentage quietly turns into pounds of weight you paid chicken prices for. The bigger the purchase becomes, the more expensive that hidden water becomes. That is why buying in bulk demands even more attention. Members Mark is not a bad product. The real problem is that warehouse shopping magnifies every small detail. Before loading several trays into your cart, flip over one package and read the label carefully. At this size, the label is no longer a suggestion. It is the difference between getting an excellent bargain and paying premium prices for water that disappears as steam the moment the chicken reaches your pan. Why skip it? Large family packs multiply the amount of retained water you buy. The membership fee adds another cost that many shoppers forget to include. And vacuum-sealed packaging makes it much harder to inspect the chicken before making a purchase. The next brand is completely different. Its reputation has been built over decades, which is exactly why so many shoppers stop paying attention. Number 5. Perdue. Perdue has earned one of the strongest reputations in the American poultry industry. For decades, shoppers have associated the brand with careful processing, dependable quality, and products they can trust. That reputation is well-deserved. The No Antibiotics Ever line sold by Perdue is genuinely one of the better options available in many grocery stores. But reputation can sometimes become a disadvantage, because once people trust a brand, they stop reading the label. That is where the mistake begins. Much of the standard chicken sold under the Perdue brand is processed in much the same way as competing products. The familiar name on the package does not automatically mean you are getting a premium product. What the brand really sells is confidence. And confidence often convinces shoppers to skip the most important step: checking exactly what they are buying. Ironically, the brands people trust the most are usually the ones they inspect the least. That makes them the easiest place to overlook important details. The smarter approach is simple. Buy the premium Perdue product lines on purpose. Do not assume every package carrying the Perdue name offers the same quality. Trust the brand, but trust the label even more. Why skip it? Most grocery stores do not carry the air-chilled chicken sold by Perdue. Many marinated products contain far more sodium than shoppers realize. And the front of the package highlights attractive marketing claims while the most important information remains on the back. Now we are entering the final 4. These are some of the most trusted grocery stores in America. And as we move closer to number 1, the gap between appearance and reality becomes even wider. The next store proves that a friendly image does not always tell the full story. Number 4. Food Lion. Some grocery stores simply feel more welcoming. They are smaller, they feel friendlier, and somehow they make you believe the food inside must be fresher and more local. That feeling is exactly where the mistake because Food Lion feels like a neighborhood grocery store, the chicken must come from nearby farms or smaller suppliers. But a warm atmosphere is not the same thing as better sourcing. A friendly logo is not proof of higher quality. The everyday chicken sold at Food Lion is largely the same standard product you can find at many major supermarket chains. The difference is not the chicken itself. It is the presentation. The store creates a more local, more personal shopping experience, but the package tells a very different story. Look at the back label. You will find surprisingly little information about where the chicken actually came from or how it was raised. To be fair, Food Lion does carry better product lines. The problem is that those options are often difficult to find. They may be out of stock, hidden among the standard products, or simply available in limited quantities. Meanwhile, the basic packages receive the most shelf space and the most attention. A pleasant shopping experience is always welcome, but it should never replace reading the label. Do not let the atmosphere make the decision for you. Why skip it? A local feeling does not guarantee local sourcing. Better product lines are often unavailable or difficult to find, and many standard packages provide very little information about sourcing or production. The next grocery store teaches perhaps the most valuable label reading trick in this entire video. It is not about what the package says, it is about what the package never says. Number 3. Safeway. Most shoppers believe a large, established supermarket naturally offers better quality chicken. That assumption sounds reasonable. But Safeway teaches an entirely different lesson. Pick up one of the standard chicken packages and look for 2 simple words. Air chilled. On many standard Safeway products, those words never appear. That missing phrase tells you more than almost anything else printed on the package. Here is why. When a company invests in air-chilled processing, it almost always advertises it proudly. Air-chilled costs more. It requires a different production process. And companies that pay for that upgrade usually want shoppers to notice. So when those words are missing, it is rarely an accident. More often it means the chicken followed the standard water chilling process instead. The company would simply rather focus your attention somewhere else. To be fair, Safeway does sell stronger options, including the Open Nature line. But when you are looking at the standard packages, pay attention to what is missing instead of what is printed. Sometimes, silence tells you more than the label itself. Why skip it? The better Open Nature products usually cost more than the standard line. Information about farms and sourcing remains limited, and the better options are not always available in every store. We have reached the final two. One of them built its reputation on low prices. The other built its reputation on trust. Both disappoint shoppers for completely different reasons. Number 2. Walmart. We are almost at the end. And number 2 is all about price. Most shoppers walk into Walmart expecting one thing. The lowest price wins. It sounds simple. If the package costs less, you save money. But this is where cheap can quietly become expensive. Here is the calculation almost nobody makes. Much of the standard chicken sold in grocery stores is cooled inside large tanks of cold water. During that process, the meat naturally absorbs some of that water before it is packaged. The government even allows manufacturers to tell you exactly that. The information is printed on the label. The problem is that almost nobody reads it. Look carefully and you may find a line that says, "may contain up to a certain percentage of retained water." That water is inside the 5-pound family pack that contains roughly 10% retained water. That means nearly half a pound of what you paid for is simply water. Now repeat that purchase every week, week after week, month after month. By the end of the year, you have spent real grocery money paying chicken prices for water that disappears into steam the moment it reaches your pan. Suddenly, the lowest sticker price does not look like the lowest real price. That is why Walmart finishes near the bottom of this ranking. It is not because the chicken is unsafe. It is because low prices often come with very little transparency. Why skip it? Massive production relies on constantly changing suppliers. Quality can vary from one shipment to the next, and the lowest prices often come with the least information about how the chicken was processed. Now we have reached number 1. The worst score in this entire ranking did not go to the cheapest grocery store. It went to one of the most trusted retailers in America, and that is exactly why it finished last. Number 1. Target. This is the surprise we promised at the beginning. Target has built one of the strongest reputations in American retail. The stores are clean. The displays look premium. The private label packaging is modern and attractive. Everything about the shopping experience makes you believe you are buying something better. That is exactly why this result is so disappointing. Behind the clean design and premium presentation, much of the standard chicken sold at Target follows the same ordinary production process used by many lower-priced competitors. The packaging creates premium expectations. The product delivers an average experience. Even more disappointing, the label provides very little information about where the chicken actually comes from or how it was produced. So why does Target finish below stores with lower prices? Not because the chicken is dangerous. Not because families cannot enjoy it. Many people do. The real issue is expectation. When a discount store gives you very little information, most shoppers expect that. But when one of America's most trusted retailers presents an ordinary product inside premium packaging while revealing almost nothing about its sourcing, the disappointment becomes much greater. The more attractive the front of the package becomes, the less likely many shoppers are to flip it over. And that brings us back to the most important lesson in this entire video. The front is marketing. The back is the truth. Nowhere demonstrates that lesson more clearly than Target. Why skip it? Groceries are not the primary focus of the business. The meat selection remains relatively limited. Very few specialty or air-chilled options are consistently available. So why do so many different grocery stores make the same decisions? To answer that question, we need to understand how chicken itself quietly changed over the past several decades. That story explains almost everything you have seen so far. The Industry Exposé. To understand why so many different grocery stores make the same choices, You first need to understand how the chicken industry quietly changed over the last several decades. Picture America about 60 years ago. Buying chicken was simple. Most families purchased meat from a local butcher. The birds came from nearby farms. You often knew exactly who raised them and who prepared them. The chicken arrived, it was cleaned, it was sold, and you took it home the very same day. Very little processing, very little mystery. Then, everything changed. Americans began eating more chicken than ever before. Demand exploded. Families wanted chicken for dinner several nights every week, and they wanted it at prices everyone could afford. Small local farms could no longer keep up. The entire neighborhood butchers and into massive centralized facilities capable of handling millions of birds every year. The goal was no longer craftsmanship. The goal became speed. Every step had to move faster. Every bird had to look the same. Every package had to reach store shelves as efficiently as possible. One challenge quickly became obvious. Fresh chicken has to be cooled immediately after processing. Cooling thousands of birds one at a time would take far too long. So the industry adopted a faster solution. Huge tanks filled with ice-cold water. Hundreds of chickens entered those tanks together. Within less than an hour, they were fully chilled and ready for packaging. The system was fast. It was efficient. It was inexpensive. But it also created the biggest illusion in the entire meat aisle: water chilling. That single decision explains almost everything you have seen throughout this ranking. Now compare that with air-chilled chicken. Instead of being submerged in water, every bird is cooled individually using cold circulating air. There is no communal water bath, no soaking, no opportunity for the meat to absorb additional water. In fact, some moisture naturally evaporates during the process. What you buy is almost entirely chicken. With water-chilled products, the opposite happens. As the meat cools inside those large tanks, it naturally absorbs water, often between 8 and 12% of the total weight. That extra weight remains inside the package you carry home. Now think back to the beginning of this video. The puddle that filled your frying pan. The chicken that refused to brown. The steam. The shrinking. It was never your cooking. It was the chilling process. But the illusion goes even further. As production became larger and more standardized, nearly every package started looking the same. The cheapest chicken and the most expensive chicken often share the same pale color, the same plump appearance, the same neatly wrapped tray. Two packages can look almost identical while delivering completely different results in your kitchen. Something else disappeared along the way. The story behind the chicken. The farm name became smaller. The butcher disappeared completely. Detailed information slowly gave way to brand logos, package weight, and promotional pricing. Chicken became more convenient than ever before. But every step toward convenience came with one trade-off: less transparency. So remember these 4 ideas. Years ago, chicken came from a farm. Today, much of it comes from a processing system. The package tells you that it is chicken. It rarely tells you how that chicken became the product sitting in front of you. Convenience became better. Transparency became worse. Most shoppers believe they are buying chicken. In reality, they are buying a production process. None of this means the system is unsafe. Nothing you have heard today suggests that. The industry is built for efficiency, not deception. But efficiency leaves many important details off the label. And once you understand that, shopping becomes much easier. Before we reveal the 3 grocery stores that performed the best, let us show you 3 simple tests you can perform in your own kitchen. You do not need expensive equipment. You only need a few minutes. And after trying them once, you will never look at chicken the same way again. 3 simple kitchen tests. You do not need a laboratory. You do not need expensive equipment. You only need 3 simple tests that anyone can perform at home. The first is the paper towel test. Take 2 pieces of chicken from 2 different packages. Press a clean paper towel firmly against each one. One piece will quickly soak the towel, leaving it noticeably wet. The other will stay relatively dry. The paper towel tells the story immediately. More liquid
And
usually
more
means
retained
more
water
retained
means
water.
more money spent on something that is not actually chicken.
The second is the pan test. Heat a dry pan until it is hot. Place both pieces of chicken into the pan at the same time. Now watch carefully. One piece immediately begins to sizzle. The surface turns golden brown. The other releases a pool of liquid. Instead of browning, it starts steaming. That puddle is the retained water leaving the meat. Real browning usually means less retained water. Steaming usually means more. The third is the shrink test. Weigh one piece of chicken before cooking. Cook it completely. Then weigh it again. Chicken containing more retained water almost always loses more weight because much of that water cooks away. Chicken that was air-chilled usually keeps more of its original size and leaves more food on your plate. That difference represents something very simple: money. Every time retained water evaporates, part of what you paid for disappears with it. Try these tests once. After that, you will trust your own eyes more than any marketing printed on the front of a package. And once you know what to look for, finding high-quality chicken becomes much easier. Now it is time to recognize the 3 grocery stores that stood above the rest. These are the stores that made it easier for shoppers to understand exactly what they were buying. Let us begin with number 3. Number 3. Whole Foods. Many people believe Whole Foods is simply an expensive grocery store with premium prices. The reality is much more interesting. Yes, the prices are higher, but so is the amount of information you receive. Every fresh chicken sold in the Whole Foods meat department is air-chilled. That single detail immediately separates it from many of the stores we ranked earlier. And the advantages do not stop there. Whole Foods also follows recognized animal welfare standards that are publicly available and independently verified. That means shoppers receive more than attractive packaging. They receive meaningful information about how the birds were raised. That is a real signal of quality, not just another marketing slogan. The higher price reflects more than branding. You are paying for chicken instead of retained water. As a result, more of what you buy ends up on your dinner plate. If Whole Foods is not available in your area, look for Bell & Evans or Smart Chicken in other grocery stores. Both brands offer air-chilled chicken and provide clear information about how their products are raised and processed. When you open the package, the chicken feels noticeably drier. When you cook it, it browns beautifully. Why choose it? Fresh chicken is often prepared directly at the butcher counter. Strict production standards eliminate many unnecessary additives, and store employees can usually answer questions about sourcing and production with confidence. Next comes a warehouse retailer that surprised almost everyone during our research. Its reputation is built on buying in bulk, but one decision quietly moved it near the very top of this ranking. Number 2. Costco. Many people think of Costco as one thing: a warehouse. A place where bigger packages mean lower prices. That usually leads shoppers to one assumption: bulk shopping must mean average quality. This is one of the biggest surprises in the entire ranking. Costco quietly made an important improvement that many shoppers never noticed. Much of the fresh Kirkland signature chicken now carries an air-chilled label. That is the very feature many premium brands use to justify charging significantly higher prices. Costco does something different. In many cases, it offers that same premium processing without asking shoppers to pay a premium price. That creates outstanding value. A better production process at a warehouse price. There is one important detail you should remember. Not every standard water chilling process. That is why you should never assume every package is identical. Read the label every time you shop. The package tells the truth, not the brand name. When you find air-chilled Kirkland signature chicken at Costco, you are looking at one of the best values in today's grocery market. Why choose it? Consistent quality across stores throughout the country. Vacuum-sealed packaging helps preserve freshness during freezing. And Costco offers one of the most customer-friendly return policies in retail. Now we have reached number 1. The winner is not America's biggest brand. It is not the cheapest option. It wins because it tells shoppers exactly what they are buying. Number 1. Bell & Evans. Many people assume the best chicken must come from the biggest company. That assumption is wrong. Bell & Evans earned the top position because it leaves very little hidden from the customer. Every fresh chicken produced by Bell & Evans is 100% air-chilled. Not partially, not sometimes. Every package. That means there is no retained water added during the chilling process. Every pound you purchase is essentially a pound of chicken, nothing else. The advantages continue beyond air chilling. Bell & Evans raises its chickens without antibiotics. The company follows recognized animal welfare standards, and it openly explains how its products move from the farm to your grocery store. That level of transparency is exactly what many shoppers have been missing. The difference becomes obvious when you cook it. The chicken sears properly, it develops rich color, the skin becomes crisp, and the meat stays noticeably larger because it is not losing unnecessary water during cooking. Yes, Bell & Evans usually costs more at the checkout, but remember what you are paying for. You are paying for chicken, not water. When you compare the actual amount of meat that reaches your dinner plate, the difference in value is often much smaller than the price tag suggests. Bell & Evans finishes at number 1 because it brings transparency back to the meat aisle. Once you know how to recognize that transparency, you no longer need rankings like this. You can identify quality for yourself. Why choose it? Air-chilled processing with no retained water, raised without antibiotics, strong animal welfare standards, clear information about farming and production, and decades of experience producing high-quality chicken. Before we finish, let us clear up 4 myths that confuse millions of shoppers every year. 4 common myths about buying chicken. Now that you have seen the rankings, it is time to clear up 4 common myths that confuse shoppers every single day. Myth number 1. Expensive chicken is always better. That sounds logical, but it is not always true. Some premium-priced chicken is still water-chilled and contains retained water. Meanwhile, certain warehouse products, including air-chilled Kirkland Signature chicken sold at Costco, can deliver outstanding quality for considerably less money. Price alone tells you very little. The label tells you much more. Myth number 2. Natural chicken is automatically the better choice. Not necessarily. The word natural simply means the product contains no artificial ingredients and has been minimally processed according to federal labeling rules. It does not tell you whether the chicken was air-chilled. It does not tell you how much retained water it contains. And it does not tell you anything about the production process. Natural does not automatically mean higher quality. Myth number 3. Every chicken cooks the same way. Now you know that is not true. Air-chilled chicken usually browns more quickly, develops better texture, and keeps more of its original liquid, creates steam instead of browning, and shrinks much more during cooking. The recipe never changed. The processing method did. Myth number 4. More liquid inside the package means fresher chicken. In many cases, the opposite is true. That extra liquid is often retained water from the chilling process, rather than a sign of freshness. A package that looks cleaner and noticeably drier can actually be the better choice. Now let us reduce this entire video into something you can remember every time you walk into a grocery store. The 5-second shopping checklist. If you remember nothing else from today's video, remember these 5 steps. They take only a few seconds. Step 1. Flip the package over. Never judge chicken by the front label alone. The front is marketing. The back is the truth. Step 2. Look for the words, air-chilled. If you see those words, that is usually a very good sign. If they are missing, the chicken was most likely water-chilled. Step 3. Find the retained water statement. Look for wording such as, may contain up to a certain percentage of retained water. Lower percentages are generally better. No retained water is even better. Step 4. Read the complete product name. If the package says, Chicken breast with up to 15% solution. You now know that water and salt were added before packaging. If it simply says chicken breast, you are usually looking at the cleaner option. Step 5. Look for meaningful proof. A real farm name. A recognized animal welfare certification. Clear sourcing information. Anything that demonstrates transparency. Do not confuse attractive packaging with trustworthy information. A picture of a happy chicken is not evidence. Real information is. Follow these 5 steps a few times, and they quickly become a habit. Soon you will judge every package by facts instead of marketing. So, what have we learned today?
Most of the lower-ranked stores, including Target, Walmart, Safeway, and Food Lion, disappointed shoppers for different reasons. The best performers, Whole Foods, Costco, and Bell & Evans, stood out because they provided clearer information and greater transparency. But this video was never about telling you to avoid a particular grocery store. Every store can sell good chicken. Every store can also sell products that deserve a closer look. The real goal was never fear. It was confidence. The next time you stand in front of the meat case, you will not have to guess. Turn the package over. Look for the words, air-chilled. Check the retained water statement. Read the complete product name. 5 seconds. That is all it takes. Because one ranking can help you today. Learning how to read the label can help you for the rest of your life. Now we would love to hear from you. Did your favorite grocery store make the list? Tell us in the comments below. At Golden Menu, we read every comment. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video.